My name is Leticia. I am 27 and I majored in English literature.
My name is Maria. I'm 19 and I'm currently majoring in communication disorders.
Hi, my name is Clara. I'm 26 years old and I majored in Spanish language and literature and I minored in Mexican American studies.
My name is Marisol. I am 28 years old and my majors were Spanish, sociology, and then urban education minor.
Marissa Montes, I'm 32 and I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, so my parents are both illegally still in the country, and I am DACA, which is consideration of deferred action for childhood arrivals. I'm still under that right now.
I am a U.S. citizen and my parents are both residents.
So I'm a citizen and my parents are residents.
My immigration status is U.S. citizen. I was born in San Francisco, California. My mom is a resident, but she's actually applying for citizenship as we speak. And my dad became a citizen a couple years ago.
I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born here. My mom is a resident and my dad's a U.S. citizen.
I'm the first generation of my entire family. That includes immediate and extended family.
I am the first generation to attend college.
I'm the first generation to attend college.
I am a first generation college student.
I was actually a pretty smart kid in high school. I was in orchestra and on the golf team, and I got straight A's a few times. But I did at some point think that I wasn't going to be able to go to college or any university because of my illegal status at the time.
In high school, I was moderately involved. I was in a 4-year program that required me to go to different, like an off-site kind of place. And so after school, about 2 to 3 times a week, I would go to this program. And then I was a volleyball coach for about 2 to 3 years during high school. I was generally a good student. I believe I graduated with like a 3-point-something GPA, but yeah, I think I was generally a good student.
In high school, I was a pretty good student because when I was in middle school, I was pretty bad. And I went to a pretty predominantly white school, so when I was like in 6th and 7th grade, all the little kids were, they talk bad about Mexicans, so they would make fun of them and say we're not smart. So then in 8th grade, I was like, oh, I have to be, I have to try and be smart or else whatever they're saying is true. So ever since 8th grade, I try to be a good student.
In high school, I was, I guess you could say a good student, but the beginning of my freshman year, I was still trying to transition from middle school to high school. So I was still in that like kind of rebellious, talking back to my teachers kind of a thing. And then once I met my Spanish teacher, she kind of laid her foot down and like asked us, are you guys serious about high school? Where do you see yourself after high school? And she kind of always integrated college into our class. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but everything that we would do would be like geared toward going to college. So based on that, like she was really inspirational to me. So I would try and think of, as far as like anything I would do in school, like that it was going to help me towards my college career. So I started to join clubs, like I think it was Latino Student Union. It's been a while. And I was in leadership, and I did sports my 4 years of high school. So by the time I was a senior, I became the senior athlete of the year because I had good grades, but I also was athletic. And so I just always try to stay focused. I took AP classes. I did okay in those. I wasn't that good in calculus, but I tried because they said if you take AP classes, then that'll help with your GPA. So I would say overall I was a pretty good student.
I was a good student in high school, had good grades, 3.5 and above, I would say, most of my high school years. I had a lot of friends, and we would go out a lot of house parties, and I did cut 2 times in my whole school year. That's it.
My parents used to tell me that if I didn't want to work like a dog like them, then I should probably be smart and go to school. So I took that to heart and pushed myself to be where I'm at.
I decided to go to college because generally it was what they told us to do in high school. With a lot of statistics that they gave us, they said that going to college was going to give you higher income versus just high school degrees. So I decided to go to college, and it's also allowed me to branch out my knowledge. So I think I continue to go to college because I keep learning. So like I said before, I went to a pretty white middle school, and everybody it was expected for them to go to college. So then I was like, well, I'm gonna go to college too. And so I ended up going to college because I kind of thought it was expected of me too to go, and I didn't want people to treat me less than just because I was Mexican. Also, my cousins went to college. My cousins from my dad's side went to college, and I was like, well, I have to go too.
Why did I go to college? Well, one, I wanted to be a teacher, so you have to go to college to be a teacher. And I try to surround myself with like friends that had a similar mindset as me, and we all had like some type of vision or dream to, be someone in life. And so I go back again to that one teacher, that Spanish teacher that I had, that really motivated us and told us anything you want to do in life or be in life, be a professional at it and go to college. College is going to open a lot of doors for you.
I didn't attend college because I didn't have all the financial help that I would have liked from my parents. I didn't have a car to move around in, so I had to start working, buy myself a car, and that's what I did. And then I was going to go to college, but then I got pregnant. And yeah, although I must say, I did get accepted to San Francisco State University and San Jose State University.
My parents did support me in the way that they provided a roof, they provided a car and food. However, money they couldn't provide, so I basically worked my way through school. I had tons of jobs. I was mainly a bartender, and I used to work like random events just as a server and things like that. House sat, dog sat, so I had like a slew of different positions to kind of get me through. At school, I had a payment option or payment method, basically, where I would, what one person would have to pay just per semester, they would break it down for me into 3 payments that I could pay. So it wasn't such a burden every semester.
I didn't receive any financial support from my parents, but I did receive financial support from FAFSA, and that basically allowed me kind of like so far like a full ride. So everything I've gotten from FAFSA, and I haven't had to pay for anything. And textbooks are also, textbooks, tuition, everything's being paid by FAFSA.
I did not, except for one semester that I needed help paying my schooling. My mom helped me out. But for most of my undergrad, I had financial aid, and thank God that helped me pay through college. It helped me pay all my classes, my tuition, and my books. It only helped me pay for 4 years of college, and I needed 1 extra semester, and like I said, I didn't have any money. And so my mom was like, you know what, I'll give you some of my money from my savings, and that'll help you with tuition, and that really helped me out a lot.
So financial support, yes, if I needed it, from my mom, but technically she didn't really have to give me much money because I got financial aid. I went to Santa Clara, and it was a pretty expensive school, so it was like based on how much the school tuition was, and then based on your GPA, and I think parent income, but I'm not sure about that one, then they would give you, you know, money. So Cal Grant gave me quite a big chunk, and then FAFSA also, and then Santa Clara had like their own private funds, so that was based on financial aid. So Santa Clara University gave me some money, and then also I was in this program called EFTP, Eastside Future Teachers Project, and that program gave me a scholarship every year. So I was covered. Oh, and I also had like little scholarships here and there, like $1,000, $2,000. So with that, I was able to cover the $50,000 every year that Santa Clara was charging for room and board and tuition. And my mom, she bought me a car. That was it.
I went to San Jose State University mostly because I couldn't afford a UC. And it was a school that I really enjoyed. I ran a half marathon in San Jose right before I chose what school I was going to go to, and I just kind of fell in love with the area, so I ended up going there.
So I go to San Francisco State. I chose to go there because it was one of my backup schools. All the other schools that I wanted to go to were either too expensive, or I ended up submitting my application too late, so I didn't get in. But that was my backup school, and so far it's offered me a lot of resources. Like I said, FAFSA has been covered by my tuition has been covered by FAFSA, so I decided to go to a CSU instead of UC because it's a lot cheaper. I'm not going to be in debt. Well, so far I'm not in debt, and I chose a CSU before a community college just because I thought that it would be quicker, but it kind of takes a toll on you. If you don't know what you're doing, you might get bad grades, and that's going to be in your final transcript. But so far it's been okay.
I went to San Jose State because my cousins went there. Like I said before, they were an inspiration, so I went to San Jose State. I kind of always knew that I was going to go there, but and it was all I really knew, and it was all my parents knew. So it was kind of like, well, if you're going to go to college, you're going to go to San Jose State. Looking back at it now, you know, I could have gone to a community college, and I could have finished all my undergrads and gone somewhere else and saved some money. I could have applied to different schools, UCs or privates when I was in high school. But you know what? It all lined up for me to go to San Jose State, and it went well, and I liked it.
So I ended up going to Santa Clara University when I graduated from high school in 2006, and I chose that university because I was in a program called EFTP, and that program gave me a scholarship to be a teacher. And throughout the 4 years I was in Santa Clara, we had to take classes that would help us prepare to become teachers. So financial aid was a big one because I applied to other UCs, and they did give me financial aid, but not as much. Like, I would have to end up paying maybe like $10,000 a year. But in Santa Clara they covered everything, and it was close to home. And they had the program and the major I wanted, so I ended up choosing Santa Clara University.
So my struggles for today for not attending college are that we could be better financially, and we should probably already have been owning a home of our own and not still be renting. Other than that, we're okay.
I would have to say that my biggest struggle being a minority, or just in general being an immigrant, was that I had no ability to get a loan because I didn't have a social security number. I had no ability to get any type of financial aid or anything like that. So financially, I struggled immensely, and it was very difficult to live like day by day, to do anything or make anything work for me. But somehow it worked out.
I think my biggest struggle in college is not knowing what I want to do. I still don't know what I want to do, even though for now I'm certain that I want to do communication disorders, but that could easily change, like it has changed in the past 2 years. I'm a sophomore, so my first year I declared as a sociology major, but quickly that changed and I wanted to do biology, but then that changed again. So I think the hardest thing is what major I wanted to do or what path I wanted to take, because your classes really depend on it.
A struggle being a first generation college student is just not knowing anything at all and not having a support system at home. I mean, I had a support system in the sense that, you know, they wanted me to go to college, but when it came to like what to major in or what to apply for, or you know, even for work, what to do for work while I'm going to school, I didn't have a big support system in that sense here, just because my parents didn't know what was going on, and that was a big struggle. A big struggle also was going into class and being the only Mexican person or Hispanic person. Obviously, my undergrad being in Spanish, there was a lot of Hispanic people there. But before I got into my undergrad being in Spanish, I was a bio major, and that was hard because I was the only Hispanic person. And yeah.
So my biggest struggle in college was transitioning from high school to college, because I went to a not so very good high school, put it that way. So I was top of my class, but like compared to other students that were not very good students. So I was just like your average student. And so when I got to Santa Clara University, which is a private university, you had kids that came from privileged backgrounds that went to private schools, that were like super prepared, had private tutors, had like all these things that they can count on. And I went, and I was just like completely lost. And like my first semester or quarter, I wasn't failing, but I was getting like C's and just not the best grades, because I like struggle because at one point I kind of doubted like maybe I'm not fit to go to college. Maybe I should have, done community college. But I realized like I just had to put in a little bit more work than they did. I almost felt like I was a year behind they were. But after that first quarter, then everything was fine. Another struggle was just like, I guess not fitting in because college everybody's like doing their own thing, but like seeing that these people that were so privileged were like in their own little bubble, like they didn't know that people had to work hard to get to where they were. Like you had to have a job, like not everything was given to you. So it was just that, like dealing with ignorant people.
My advice to anybody trying to get their degree is find a place that you can study without being distracted, and a place that like motivates you to continue to work. You have to find your place at like every school that you go to, or at home and at school. That's ideal.
My advice for anybody is don't let anyone tell you otherwise about going to a certain school, because in reality, whichever school you go to, you're going to get basically the same education, so that it doesn't matter if someone says something bad about you going to a community college or a CSU versus a UC versus a private, because at the end of the day, if you're getting your classes cheaper and you're getting them basically at the same level of a higher level college, then as long as you're getting the education, that's all that matters, and in the long run you're saving yourself some money. So if you can afford, or if you're only able to go to a certain level of education, don't let people tell you otherwise about that. Don't let others belittle you about your education.
So any advice I would give someone is just like believe in yourself, because there's gonna be people in your life that might doubt you, and that biggest person might be yourself. And just stay focused on what you want. If it's graduating, take the necessary classes that you need, and try not to have any distractions, because it's very easy to get a job and just say, oh, I'm making more money here, or I'll take a year off, I'll come back to it. But opportunities really only come once in your life, so you really gotta take them once you have them.
For anyone that's coming out of high school, should definitely go straight to college and get it over with, and research and find out if there's any scholarships or any grants they can get, because there's a lot of money out there that is not being used for college tuitions.